Now I'd like to tell you a little about depression. Now, by depression, I don't mean feeling blue. I mean something very specific. You'll see there's a clear definition. And everybody feels depressed from time to time. But what we're going to talk about here is major depressive episodes. And when someone is depressed at a clinical level, they have several characteristics. Major depression is associated with feeling very sad and hopeless. It is also associated with behaviors. People who are depressed are uninterested in the outside world. They're uninterested in the things that used to bring them joy, maybe hobbies or loved ones. They just don't feel any interest in engaging in that way. Cognition is definitely affected during depression. People get into a stereotypical way of thinking when they are depressed, and they have thoughts of hopelessness. And bodily reactions to depression are very significant. People who are depressed either start sleeping a lot more or a lot less than they used to. Their appetites increase significantly. They're eating all the time, or they don't want to eat at all. If you talk to a psychiatrist, one of the first questions that they'll ask to get a sense of whether you're dealing with depression is, how are you sleeping and how's your appetite? Major clinical depression is very common. About 1 in 5 of us, or 20% of us, will experience a major depressive episode at some point in our life. It is the number 1 leading cause of disability in the world. It is clinically defined as having 4 symptoms lasting at least 2 weeks. So for something to be considered a major depressive episode, these symptoms need to hang around for at least 2 weeks. So if you're feeling blue over the weekend, that's not what we mean here by clinical depression. So the 4 or more symptoms include, like I said, appetite, sleep changes, fatigue, feelings of being worthless, trouble concentrating, trouble remembering. Students who are depressed really struggle to remember what they've studied. And it can even include recurrent thoughts of death or suicidal ideation. Women seek out help for depression twice as often as men. So, for example, the data that you see in the chart here lists the percentage of men and women who seek out help for depression, either from their general practitioner or a psychiatrist or a psychologist, by location. And you can see that at every one of these locations, women are basically twice as likely to reach out for help as men. Now, does this mean that women are twice as likely to experience depression than men? Probably not. It's probably a function of our sexist stereotypes about men. We treat men as if they are supposed to take care of everything. If they're a real man, nothing will bother them, right? Does that sound familiar? There's also some very sad data that support the idea that men experience depression in large numbers too, but they're not reaching out for help. And those data come from suicides. Men are much more likely to commit suicide than women, probably as a function of not getting help for their depression. In fact, suicide amongst men is so common that it is the 3rd most common type of death for young adult men. Most people who end up committing suicide have talked about it before. So if someone you know has talked about suicide or thinking about killing themselves, you must take it seriously. I know that can be difficult because it turns out that for each person who commits suicide, they have attempted it many times in the past and either stopped or failed for some reason. So it can seem frustrating, like maybe they don't really mean it, and then one day they do. So you always have to take it very seriously. And just so you can get a sense of what a medical problem this is in the U.S., I want you to turn your attention from the graph on the left to the graph on the right. Can you see that red line going up? That's rates of death from suicide between the years 2000 and 2016. And you can see a significant 37% increase in the number of suicides in the U.S. The other blue lines that you see that are all dropping, those are deaths from cancer, heart disease, and stroke. So we're living longer biologically, but dying sooner psychologically, if you'll allow that. I said cognition plays an important role in depression. Why is that? Because there are consistent ways that people think and reason while they're depressed. A lot of times you'll hear people say things that are very self-defeating, like, I'll never be able to do that, or it's just too much work, or it's just not meant for me, or I'll never find another man like fill in the blank, or another woman like fill in the blank. So depressed people think that their current situation, which is sad, is permanent and unchanging, and they have no control over it. Those are the descriptors that describe the thinking patterns of people that are depressed. They feel sad now, they're in a bad situation now, and it's never going to get better. That's the sort of logic that goes on. One of the big differences between men and women in how they respond to depression is something called rumination or brooding. Women are much more likely to sit back and think about how depressed they are and how they're trapped in this depression and things are never going to get better, and they just keep thinking and thinking about how depressed they are. Men are much more likely to get together with their buddies and go play a game of pool, to do something distracting. So to give you an idea of what happens when somebody gets depressed, I want to take a moment to go through this pessimistic explanatory style. So let's say that you've been dating someone for a long time and you really loved that person, and now you break up with them. How you think about that breakup is going to play a big role in whether or not you become depressed after the breakup. So, for example, if you have this breakup and you conclude, I will never get over this, that's that stability, that permanence of the current situation that depressed people fall into in their reasoning, that it's never going to get better. As compared to a healthier response to the breakup, which would be, this really hurts now and my heart's broken now, but eventually I'll get over this. People who are depressed think that their current situation is globally bad. Not just is this breakup bad, but every aspect of my life is miserable and painful. So a depressed person, again, after a breakup might say, without my partner, I can't do anything right? Everything is wrong. Versus somebody with a healthier coping or reasoning strategy might say, I really miss my partner and I feel bad about this breakup, but there's other people in the world who love me and I'll start dating again someday. Another aspect of depressed thinking includes self-blame. So our breakup was entirely my fault. Just self-blame. A more successful coping strategy would just say, hey, it takes two to tango. It takes two people to be in a relationship, and we just weren't working out well together, and I guess it wasn't meant to be. So the people who come up with the negative depressive style of thinking about a major depressive event are much more likely to fall into depression than folks who think about what's happened to them in a more constructive, open, engaged way. So there's this cycle that can happen with depression. A negative event happens, say the COVID pandemic, and someone develops a pessimistic explanation of the pandemic. It's never going to get better. My life is over because of this pandemic, for example. Eventually, because of the pessimism, their pessimistic explanation of what's happening, they become hopeless. Well, this is never going to get better, so this is hopeless. Nothing's ever going to improve. I am without hope for the future. That's obviously a very sad place to be. And that sadness further hampers the person's ability to think and to understand that, yes, things are bad now, but they will get better. I promise you they will get better. We will get through this. And feeling like you're hopeless creates more stress, and then something else happens. It could be smaller, and that cycle just keeps going down and down and down, and the depression just drags you down. So it's very important to seek treatment for depression. Thanks.